What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Untitled channel. In this video, I'll be going over some more Smite beginner tips for anyone that needs them. In the first two videos that I did, we went over the Conquest beginner tips and we went over the roles for each specific lane and everything like that. So if you have not seen those two, feel free to check out those two videos and catch up and then come back to watch this. But in this video, we're going to go over the items for each role specifically and what to buy, why to buy it, what it does, and all that good stuff. I'm not going to go over each item specifically because that would be a very long video. We're just going to go over the basics, what to look for, what to do, and that way if you are caught, without the auto buy, the auto purchase on, you can go ahead and buy the correct items for the god or the role that you are playing. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Alright guys, so we are in the menu and ready to pick the god that we want to play as along with the role that we're going to play as in the game. Again, if you have not seen the first two, at least the role video, you'll make sure to watch that so you understand what's going on here. But we're going to start off with the jungle role and just go over that. And then the next roles after that will be pretty easy to explain because it's pretty much a similar pattern. It's just different items and stuff like that. Also, if you don't want to be worrying about items that you want to pick and, you don't have to worry about all that, if you go down to the options on the right side, on PC, I believe it's above the gods, but you look for your options and look for the auto buy skill. So I clicked options, auto buy skill. I'm going to click on auto buy skill. What you can do is turn both of them to on, and that way the game will buy the items for you, and you don't have to worry about throughout the entire game about buying items. However, if you do want to learn how to buy items and what they mean and all that, feel free to continue watching as we get through it. Alright guys, so before we jump into the gameplay and the progression of how to use the items and everything like that, I want to use the item builder within the game in order to explain it a little bit better, and then we're going to jump to the gameplay for each role, and that way you guys can see it happening in real time. So we're going to go ahead and go into the gods here. And we're going to start off with the jungler role. So that's going to be mostly assassins. You can see other gods play it, but most of the time it's assassins. And I'm going to go into Pele here. I'm going to go to item builder. Alright, you can see it's blank. I have no items for her. I don't have a custom build for Pele. But if I go over to standard, okay, this is the standard build for Pele. When you go in game, they're going to have a recommended section. When we go in game, I'll show you. It'll have different items in this. But this, let's just say that this was the recommended items. Now I have a blueprint on how to build this character. When I build items for whichever god I'm playing, I just use whatever's recommended to me and build accordingly. You can have a maximum of 6 items for your god, so they give you like 10 or 12, I believe. So you pick from the 10 or 12 they give you, and you build the best of whatever you need. If you need defense, you get more defense. If you need offense, you get more offense. If you need attack speed, you get more attack speed. If whatever you need, it's there for you. That item will be there. If not, there's a place where you can go, you tab over, and it'll have it broken down by categories. When we go in game, I will show you. But starting off with the jungler, you're going to want to start off with picking a relic. All right, junglers usually have one of the 3 relics: the beads, the Aegis amulet on the bottom, or the blink rune. All right, beads give you CC immunity, which is crowd control immunity. So anyone that tries to stun you, root you, or if you are stunned, or if you are root, if you click on the beads, it'll negate it. It'll make you immune. You can get away. The Aegis makes you invincible, so if you have like a Poseidon using its ultimate, if you click it right before it hits you, you're invincible. You survive. Okay? And then the blink rune is for teleportation. It lets you teleport a short distance if you're not in battle. So if you're in battle, you can't use it, but if you're out of battle for a few seconds, you can use it to get away or to close distance with an enemy god. Moving on to the blessing. Each role has a specific blessing. For junglers, it's going to be the assassin's blessing, so it's just 3 yellow knives, so you pick that for your starting role. Again, as we go into the gameplay, I'll show you what I mean. And then you're going to want to either pick the boots or a physical damage item right out the gate, along with some potions. Okay, so the boots will give you movement speed along with some other stuff, but usually most of the time junglers pick the physical item so you get the damage, so that way you can do more damage to jungle monsters, and then any early engagement you'll have that little bit of power and stuff like that. And then as you go through the game, you're going to continuously buy more items for your character depending on which the character needs. So if I need Hydras, I'll buy Hydras next, and then I'll buy Crusher next, then I'll buy Titan's Bane next, and let's say I need defense, so I'll buy this robe next. Okay, it just depends on how you're going in the game, what you need, and everything like that. And of course, each item will give you a different bonus, so make sure to read what the item gives you along with its passive if it has one, along with the defense it gives you, or offense, or attack speed, or whatever it is. Just make sure that it's an item that will benefit you in the long run. You can always sell items if you don't need it. For example, if you can see on the bottom there, we have the 6 items laid out. When you get to that point where you've built all 6 items like that, you can go back. When you go back to the fountain, I'm sure you're in game, you're going to go back, you're going to sell the Assassin's Blessing, and you're going to get a 6th item, which is not the Assassin's Blessing. Because the Assassin's Blessing is good for starting out, but for endgame it doesn't provide much of a bonus. There are items that provide a lot more value than the Assassin's Blessing, stuff like that. And there's also, if I go over to custom here real quick, if you get to a point, and this is like late game, you'll get to a point where you'll have a lot of gold. You can sell your boots and buy this. So this is the Elixir of Speed. It basically is the power of boots. It gives you that movement speed. So you can sell your boots, get a different attack item or defense item or attack speed item or a critical chance item. And as I go in game, I will show you that as well. And if you get late in game, you can buy either the Elixir of Defense, which will give you a huge defense buff, or you can buy the Elixir of Power, which will give you a huge attack power. But as a jungler, you'll probably want to buy the Elixir of Power. So with that being said, we're going to jump into the gameplay now for the jungler, and then we'll jump into the rest of the roles, which are very similar. You just buy certain things. Again, I buy the recommended items given to me, and then just pick based on what I need in that game. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, so we are in game now, so we're going to do what I previously said, and you can see we're going against an Arachne and an Ares, a Cernunnos, a Baron Samedi, and a Chalk. So the Ares is a big, that's a red flag for me. I'm going to want to buy the beads, so that way if he uses his ultimate, I can protect myself. Ares' ultimate has a chain that comes out and it pulls you to him. If you use the beads before he pulls you, it doesn't work. Alright, I'm going to get the Assassin's Blessing, and I'm also going to get the Crusher. So you can see I have the recommended on the left side here. For PC, it's a little bit different. I'll have an image for you guys so you guys can see where you need to go. Click on the recommended, and you'll see a build for that god. You'll see like a little blueprint and stuff like that. All right. I'm also going to grab a couple potions and maybe the Hand of the Gods. All right. Hand of the Gods will help you clear jungle monsters faster. I'll show you how to. It's very simple. It just drops a hand on them and helps you do some damage. All right. So I'm going to walk over to the jungling position. Again, if you have not seen the first two videos, at least the second one where I explain the roles on how to jungle and everything like that, make sure to check it out so that way you understand what I'm doing here. But I'm going to jungle for a little bit. I'm going to get the items or the gold that I need in order to buy the items, and then I'm going to cut back in and I'll show you how I buy each item and everything like that. Alright guys, I'm back. I suffered some damage, so now I'm back at my fountain and I've accumulated some gold. I'm going to buy the next item for my character. So I'm going to buy the boots now so I get the extra movement speed so I can move quicker as a jungler and help out my team more. So I'm going to buy the boots here, about 600 gold left. Once I get to 700, then I can buy the tier 3, and I'm going to come back and finish the Crusher, okay? So I'm going to go back out in my jungle some more, and I'm going to come back and buy the Crusher. Alright guys, once again I've returned back to the fountain, and now I'm ready to buy the next parts of my items. So I'm going to go back into the item shop again. I'm just using the recommended tile in order to buy what I need. I'm going to finish up the boots, okay? Boots are now done. Level 3, all the way done. Next, I'm going to go over to the Crusher and buy it, guys. I need 1750. I got 1800. Bam. Crusher is now done. Boots are now done. Now I can move on to the next item. So depending on what's going on in the game now, you're going to want to buy either more attack power for your jungler or defense, depending on if you're getting, killed a lot. So if you're getting killed a lot, I would recommend buying the breastplate or the shield. Buying either one of those will give you power. You can see on the bottom there, you get physical power, you get protection, and you get health. And then enemy gods within 55 units have their protection reduced by 15%, which is basically their defense. So the defense gets reduced by 15% as it raises yours, and it raises your defense as well. But if you're doing really well and you're not really dying that much, you want to go more attack power, feel free to go with, Hydras or the Titan's Bane, or you can go with Transcendence if you want to, or Blackthorn Hammer, or the Sledge is really good as well. Look at that. You get power, health, mana, and crowd control reduction. Very good item there. It just depends on what you want, okay? So let's say you want something specific for your jungler like attack speed. I mean, usually you don't want attack speed, but let's say you want specifically attack speed, right? So what you want to do is tab over to offensive, and you can see it's broken down by power, attack speed, lifesteal, penetration, and critical chance. You can see I can pick from a plethora of items for attack speed. For junglers, I would go with the swords. The swords are probably the best thing. I wouldn't go with any of the bows. The bows are probably going to be for the hunters. But yeah, I would go with any of the swords, or maybe one of these items right here. These also help with critical chance. You can see on the bottom there. So if you want attack speed, you can go towards that. If you want lifesteal, pick one of those items, okay? Just read which we want and then decide which item you think is best for your character at the moment. Another thing you want to keep in mind is upgrading your relics. You can see on the bottom there, we got the beads. We don't have the second one unlocked yet. You get the second one at level 12, but I can upgrade the beads to another level. For the beads, you don't get anything special except for a reduced cooldown. So originally it takes 160 seconds to use the beads. If I upgrade it, I can get 130 seconds. I would hold off in upgrading that until later. I wouldn't upgrade the beads or Aegis that fast, because all it does is reduce your cooldown versus like Curse of Ankh, or I think Blink gives you a little bit of a boost. Magic Shell, stuff like that. So if you have a relic like beads or ages, I recommend not upgrading it until your items are done, or if you have like just an excess of gold, maybe you can use it then. But most of the time I wait towards the end of like my 5th or 6th item before upgrading my relic. But that's pretty much it for the jungler. It's very simple. So if I go back over to recommended again, I'm going to follow along with that. You don't want to buy the blessing. You can't buy the blessing. So that is there. That, again, it's situational. If I was using Pele as a solo, I'd probably use that. We'll go over that as we go into solo. But very simple. I just follow along with this. And then once I get towards the end, so once I get towards my 6th item load, so let's say that those last 3 empty slots were filled and I had all tier 3 items, right? I would go down to my Assassin's Blessing and sell it. So I just click X to sell, and then whatever it is on PC, I think you just click sell and it sells for you. You can see it's no longer there. And now I'm able to get a 6th item that is not the blessing, because again, like I said, it's going to give you more benefit to do something else like a Heart Seeker. So I start buying towards a Heart Seeker, and I'll have extra physical power, mana, MP5, which is mana production per 5 seconds, and then physical penetration, which gives me tons of power, tons of attack power, which will help me a lot more than having that Assassin's Blessing, which doesn't do as much. All right, so very simple there. Follow the recommended path. You know, if you want to go in order, you can grab what you want, experiment. Again, if you're struggling, get defense. If you like cooldown reduction, go for cooldown reduction. Get some, get your abilities faster, depending on which god you're using and stuff like that. But I just follow the recommended items for me, and then build it from there. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump to the next role. All right, so we're back in like the god screen, and this time we're gonna go down to hunters. We're gonna just talk about carries now. So I'm gonna go into, I'm using Cobb here, that's fine. And I'm going into item builder. I don't have anything built customly for him, even though he's one of my favorites. And we're going to do the exact same thing, except this time I'm gonna go over to standard, and you can see it's a little bit different. All the items are, well, not all, well, most of the items are different. The blessing's different. The relics are the same. Actually, let me move my camera up. Relics are the same, and the consumables on the bottom, the health and the mana potion, are the same again. All right, so you're gonna go into the game. You're gonna buy your relic. You're gonna buy your either your item right away, or you're gonna buy your boots. You're gonna get your blessing, and you're gonna get your potion. Very similar to the jungle role. It's just different items this time. So very simple. I'm gonna jump into a game with Amuz and Cobb, and we're gonna go right into it. Alright, so we're back into the game here. We now have Amuz and Cobb, and we're going to set up our hunter for the game. So we're going to go into the item shop here. I'm going to use the beads, and let me move my face cam again. I keep forgetting to do that. Alright, so we're going against Anhur and Ganesh. So that's the carry and the support. Sometimes the hunters play the mid. It just depends on the meta. Alright, so I got the beads. I got my hunter's blessing. So, oh, let me do that. My hunter's blessing. Okay, I got my hunter's blessing. And then for hunters, again, you can start off with the boots, or you can see that, you see for the recommended, you see how Transcendence is in front of the boots? Sometimes the hunters start off with the Transcendence. In some cases as well, some people don't bring the hunter's blessing, so if I want to sell it, I can sell it here. And then they'll just buy the second part, like they'll just go straight to that. You can do that as well. Alright, it'll get you faster to that 3rd item. Transcendence is a stack item. You can't see it on the bottom there. But you can see you permanently gain 15 mana per stack. So this is a stacking item. So with stacking items, you want to build them as fast as you can, so that way you can start stacking it. Once you reach a certain amount of stacks, it evolves into a stronger item. Alright, so for an item like this, some people go straight into it like this. Or for me, what I do, I always, I buy the blessing, then I'll buy the Transcendence, so that way I can work on both at the same time, get the benefits of the blessing along with the power item, and then of course buy the potions along with it. All right, and again, for people on PC who are brand new, again, it's going to be, in the recommended spot. Again, it's going to have it broken down for you if you're playing the carry role, or if you're playing mid as a hunter. Still the same thing. You can see that one of the recommendations for the core is this Mage's Blessing, which is for mids, for mages, right? Because sometimes, I'm losing cabs, sometimes hunters are playing in the mid. Alright, so I'm going to farm up here a little bit. I'm going to come back, buy some more items, and show you the progression similar to the jungler. Then we're going to jump to the next role. Alright, we are back, and you can see I've completed 3 out of my 6 items that I could potentially have. And you can see on the left here, if I exit out, you can see on the left, you can see Transcendence has a number next to it. That means it's stacking. Once it reaches a certain number, it'll evolve, and then it'll become a stronger item. It'll just have more benefit. So with hunters, sometimes they'll go Transcendence for more power, or sometimes they'll go with an item that's called Lifesteal. They'll go with this item right here, Devourer's Gauntlet. It's another stacking item, but it provides lifesteal. It also provides a little bit of power, but mainly people do it for lifesteal. So when they attack people, they get some health back. So that way, if they're low on health, they'll do damage to somebody and get health back and sustain a little bit longer in a fight. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it's pretty much the same thing with hunters, except I'm gonna be focusing on attack speed and maybe a little bit of critical chance with Muzen Cab. It's like a lot of attack speed for him. The executioner's attack speed, Odysseus' bow is definitely, look at that, 40% attack speed. So his build is a lot around attack speed and power. And you can throw critical chance in there if you want to, but most of the like Cupid and you know, hunters like him have the critical chance and stuff like that. But with the Muzen Cab, I'll be looking for more attack speed. If you don't like any of the items that you see here, you don't like any of their benefits, you can always go again over to offensive, attack speed, and look for a different bow or different item that gives you attack speed and critical strike chance if you want to use that instead. You know, totally up to you. You can experiment with what you want, but that is the basics for building your items. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to jump into the next role here. We're going to skip right into the gameplay because it's a very similar process, except it'll be different items instead of the ones you see here. Alright, so we are back into it. Again, we're skipping straight into the gameplay for the next role, which is the mid roles. Like I said, with the hunter, with Muzen Cab, he could play mid and get the mage's blessing. So with mids, we're going to go ahead and grab the mage's blessing. So we're going against Apois in the mid lane. We're going against Apois instead of like, you know, like a Hades or you know, like a Chang'e or something with CC. So for me, I would probably go with Aegis on this one. Now, I am going against a Thor jungler. If it was an actual jungler, I might still go with Beads because of his CC. But I still think Aegis is a good bet for this one because it'll protect me against Apois' ultimate and it'll protect me against Thor's ultimate. If I hear it coming, I can hit it right before he hits me and potentially get away. Okay? So I'm going to go with Aegis for the relic. I got Mage's Blessing. And then again, with the mids, it's similar to the hunters. Sometimes you want to go with like a stacking item, like the Book of Thoth. That's another stacking item. So you'll push the stacking item first, so you get the benefit right away. You get the stack out the way, all that good stuff. Or you'll go with the boots. I'm gonna go with the boots for my mid because I want the extra money for the potions because I want to stay in the lane as long as I can. I use the potions to help me, so I'm gonna go with the potions. And that's my basics. I got the Mage's Blessing, I got my relic, I got my boots, and I got my potions. I'm ready to go. Fight in the mid lane and do what I need to do in order to win my lane and, you know, get the gold I need so I can buy my next items and all that good stuff. So I'm just going to push up here, and again, I use the recommended items in order to buy what I need for Poseidon here for my mage. Same thing. I mean, you can use whatever you want. If you want power, go to the power. If you want, you know, attack speed, I wouldn't recommend attack speed for mages, but if you want attack speed, you go attack speed. If you want life steal, you can go life steal. Whatever you want for your character, there is a specific category for finding it. For the PC, it's very similar. If you go to all items instead of recommended, you'll see it there. Very, very simple. But since it's a very basic guide, I recommend using the recommended and just following their blueprint, picking out what you need and going from there. Mages is very simple, and it's very similar with well, solo and support are a little different. As we go through both of those, it'll be a little bit different. But I'm gonna play through Poseidon a little bit here. We're gonna buy a couple of his items, and then we're gonna go through the last two, which is support and solo, which is a little different, but relatively the same as the first three roles. All right, so I've just been buying the items in the order of which they've been given them to me, and I can always, again, skip through what I want. If I needed lifesteal, like this item right here, yeah, this item gives me lifesteal. So if I was like having a hard time fighting people or sustaining in battle, right, I can get this item here. And that way, every time I do a damage or I'm attacking someone, I'll get health back. I can last longer in battle and all that stuff. So if I want to go with that item first, I can. You can go out of order. You can grab what you want. Just, I recommend going with the recommended that they give you and building it how your character needs it. You can also see, I think I'm above level 12. I think I'm level like 13 or something. So I'm able to get a second relic. And let's say that I'm having a hard time with Thor's stuns, or, you know, Terra keeps rooting me and I can't get away from her. I think my second relic I'll go with is the beads. So now I can use beads when I'm stuck, and I can use Aegis when I'm in danger or taking a lot of damage or a big ult or whatever it is. And that's how you build from there. I'm going to build my fifth item, which is the book here. It is the Soul Reaver. Okay, I'm going to build that. That's going to be my fifth item. And then once that is completed, I would go to the Bancroft's town here and help out with the lifesteal, a little bit more power, I get some mana, and I gain additional magical power and lifesteal scaled for missing health. So that means every time I'm missing pieces of health, I get more power and I get more lifesteal, which caps at a certain amount. But that's pretty much the basics for the mid. We're going to go over the support and the solo, which is a little bit different but pretty much the same, and then we'll be done. Alright, next up guys, we got the Guardian role, the support role. Okay, so with the support role is a lot different, not a lot different, but it's similar to the other roles in item wise, but the items that you can buy is mainly for, you have to think of your team. Okay, so let's go into the item shop here, and we're going to buy the Guardian's Blessing. Okay, Guardian's Blessing. We can buy the boots. Usually you buy, you know, an item for him. I usually go with the Gauntlet of Thieves or Sovereignty or another aura item. So like I said before, Guardian, the support role is to support your team. If you watched, you know, the first video and stuff like that, their role is to support the team, help them out, and, you know, protect and, you know, hold down the enemy and all that stuff like that. A lot of their items revolve around auras. You can see on the bottom right there, you can see that says aura. So when this item is completed, allied gods within 70 units have their physical protections increased by 15 and their health per 5 seconds increased by 35. That means when you're around your own team with this item complete, it'll give them a boost to defense and to health restoration. So depending on who you're going against, so because I'm going against bots, it's going to be 1, 2, 3 physicals and 2 magicals. The physical item is the good way to go here because there's a lot of physical damage in team fights and stuff like that. So I would build Sovereignty so that way my team would have a better chance at surviving against the physical user, if that makes sense. So I would start off by building the Gauntlet of Thieves, alright, to get my potions. And the game already started, no big deal. And then for the relic, you can get the meditation. It's advised not to get the meditation cloak because it's not that helpful. It doesn't really do that much. It's good because it restores mana and it restores health to your allied gods, which is very helpful in certain cases. It helps for sustaining and stuff like that. I use it every now and then, but most of the time the gods, the guardians, they use the magic shell, which gives a boost, a shield to their allies within, like, around them. So the magic shell is really good for a defensive boost in case your carry is having a hard time, or perhaps you're in a team fight and you need to protect all your people. Magic shell comes in handy very well. Another relic the guardians like to use is the blink rune. Okay, the blink rune can be used strategically against certain gods because the guardian's role again is to keep, you know, the enemy team from moving. So you can get behind, you know, the enemy carry or the enemy jungler or the enemy mid, and, you know, put pressure on them, take them down, and it really crippled the enemy team in pushing your team to getting that win by having the ability to blink behind them and doing damage. But again, it's very similar to the other roles. You know, just follow the recommended, you know, read what the items do, of course, and pick what you need. If you're having a hard time surviving, maybe you're doing, you know, you're not surviving enough, you know, make sure you build defensive items. You can go with defensive items. You can go with, you know, these two right here, by the way, are anti-heal. Okay, we have Pestilence and Contagion, very important for supports and solos. And the reason I say that is because most of the time the supports and the solos are building what they're called anti-heals. So you can see on the other team we have Chang'e, and I believe Arachne kind of maybe has a healing ability. But if you saw somebody like Aphrodite, Chalk, Cernunnos, you know, gods that rely on a lot of healing, you're gonna want to build anti-heal. Hell, if you go against a Hell, build anti-heal. If the enemy team's healing abilities are unaffected, it'll make it 10 times harder for your team to kill the other team because they're just going to keep healing themselves, and then in team fights they'll just last longer than you and end up killing everyone. So again, it comes down to what you need in that instance. So since we're going against 1, 2, 3 physicals, we're probably going to go with Contagion here because Contagion gives me physical protection while Pestilence gives me magical protection. So if I had more, like if they had more mages or more magical people, I would go with the magical protection. But since they have, you know, Artemis, they have Arachne, and they have Amaterasu, I'm going to go with Contagion with the physical protection and get the anti-heal ability. And one thing I want to mention about the anti-heal, you cannot build both items and stack it. It does not stack. All right, so if you build a Contagion and then you build a Pestilence hoping that you can double anti-heal the opposing team, it doesn't work. The only way it works is if you have other people on your team that have built other anti-heals. Again, the solos and the support usually build them. The hunters can build them as well. You can get the Toxic Blade. I believe you go over to offense and you go to, there it is right there, attack speed, Toxic Blade. Enemies hit by your basic attack gain 20% reduced healing. So it's a similar effect to that of this item right here, which is called Divine Ruin. Mages can use that to, again, affect the healing of the opposing team. And there's also a physical item that does the exact same thing, which I believe is called the, if I go over to offensive and I go to power, I believe it's, I can't see it because I'm a magical user, but on physical there is a, I'll put up a picture of it. It does the same thing that the Divine Ruin does. So if you're going against a lot of healers, Aphrodite, Hel, Chang'e, I mean, if three or four of them have a lot of healing, I would definitely go anti-heal. And again, it comes down to knowing the gods and stuff like that. If you see your teammates saying, hey, someone build anti-heal, or build anti-heal, or why no one build an anti-heal, make sure to get rid of one of your items or save one of your slots for anti-heal. Again, go with the recommended, buy what you need, read the items that you think will help your god the most. But yeah, sort of simple for guardians. They're a little bit more complex than the other ones. I like to build aura items for my team, so like sovereignties are going to be really good here because again, I got Arachne, Amaterasu, and Artemis to defend against, so the physical protection will help against those gods themselves. And again, following that recommended is always a good way to go. Okay, make sure to read what you want to build, stuff like that. And I'll do more in-depth guide for specific roles and everything like that. But for support, again, build those auras, build what you need in order to cater your team and help your team the most with the items that you build. All right, and last but not least, we have the solo lane. All right, so very similar to the other four. You're going to buy items depending on what they recommend. It's very similar. You just buy what they recommend and go from there. All right, so we're going to do the Warrior's Blessing this time. And for the relic, we're going to do the teleport glyph. Now, most of the time, like 99% of the time, you're going to buy this glyph, this relic for the warriors. This helps you get back to your tower seamlessly, okay? So I'm going to buy the teleport glyph, and I'll show you how it works. And then I'm going to buy a shield. It recommends a shield over the boots. You can go boots first if you want to, or you can go with the shield. Again, just follow what the recommended says and then go from there. Sometimes I like to buy the boots. Sometimes I like to buy the boots first. Sometimes I'll buy the shields first. Most of the time I will buy the boots first so I can get more potions, or if I buy the shields first, because if you buy the shield first, you'll have less gold to start with, so I'll buy the shield, and it's going up now because the game started, but you can always buy just health. So with the solo lane, you're going to get the blue buff, the blue mana buff, so you don't have to really worry about mana too much. You're just having health, and sustaining is probably the best way to go. You can get potions, or you can buy even the chalice to survive longer. But let's say that I retreated back from my tower and I bought my next items, and I want to use my teleport glyph to get back to my lane to protect it fast enough, right? You just click on the button, you click on A, or you click on it, whatever is your corresponding thing, and then you click on the tower you want to teleport to. You can teleport to any tower on the map that's still up. I'm going to teleport to the tower here. And then once you've upgraded your teleport glyph as well, you'll be able to teleport to any ward any tower or ward that's on the field. So you see there, I teleported straight to my tower, and now I can go ahead and defend it and be good to go. But with solo, it's very similar to the other roles. If you're having a hard time, let's say that Chalk is really beating me up here and I'm having a hard time surviving. He's doing a lot of damage, and I'm having a hard time surviving. What do I do? I need to boost my defense. All right, so next time I go back for item, it's going to be a defensive item instead of getting like an attack item or like a physical power item. Just attack in general. I'll go for defense. All right, so let's say Chocolate's beating me up. I'm low on health. I'm like, all right, I'm going to retreat. I'm going to recall back to my base, and I'm going to look for my next item. The Breastplate of Valor, that's a great one. Look at that. Physical protection, you get mana, and you get cooldown reduction, which means your abilities come faster. You can do the shield, which gives you power, protection, health, and a cooldown reduction. That's a great one right there. That's a really good one for any warrior in general. And then, of course, if you want more, this is what I was talking about with the support. So this is the enemies hit by your abilities have 40% reduced healing. So if we're going to get someone like Chalk, who one of his abilities his third ability is a healing ability, that's a great one to have. Or you can have Contagion, okay? This is not stacked with similar auras. You can buy the Brawler's Beat Stick and the Contagion, and it'll work together, but you cannot use this with the Pestilence. You can't use it together because of the aura. You see how it says aura versus passives? Like, the bonus is passive, bonus is aura. You cannot use a similar aura for that. Again, with solo, very similar. Follow the recommended. Build what you need to. If you need defense, go to defense. If you need, if you're doing well and you want offense, go straight to the Brawler's Beat Stick. Might as well. If I'm doing well against Chalk and I need the reduced healing and I get extra attack power, might as well go that way. So very similar, very easy to do. Make sure you buy the correct blessings for each character, and make sure that when you go back to the fountain, you're buying what you need for your character in order to successfully defend your lane and help your team. Always think about what items you're buying too, because especially with support characters, the auras and the assistance that it has in the later team fights and stuff like that, make sure you buy the correct items for that. But as long as you follow the recommended, what's in the recommended for the character, most of the time you'll be just fine. Most of the time the recommended is good enough because the game will recommend you certain items based on who you're going against. Like The reason that the brawlers beat, because usually this is not here. I play Sumo Wukong a lot. This brawler's beat stick is not here usually, but it's here because I'm going against chalk. So the game does a good job of adjusting to, you know, who you're going against and all that stuff. So, you know, just trust the game if you're having a hard time with, oh, I don't know what this item does. And then as you play more and more and you start buying similar items over and over again, you'll be like, you know, I'm not going against a chalk in this match, but maybe I'm going against an Aphrodite in the mid lane. Maybe I want a brawler's beat stick for her for later on in the game. Or maybe I want a Contagion later on for her in the game, you know. Or Pestilence because she does magical damage, right? So once you play more and more and you get used to what you're, you know, who you're going against and what gods do what abilities and everything like that. Again, it comes with playing over and over again, going against the same gods over and over again, getting hit with the same abilities. You'll eventually catch on and you're going to buy the corresponding items that you need in order to beat them. Alright, but that's pretty much it for the video here, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully it helped. If you have any questions about anything, I'll answer them to the best of my ability in the comment section. Again, this is a beginner guide, really basic for, you know, anyone that wants to start buying items for themselves or, you know, branching out for that kind of thing. But that's all I really have, guys. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and I'll answer them to the best of my abilities. And if it helped, definitely appreciate a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, everyone.